I wanted to move forward straight on almost, but maybe first, if you look at today's program, you all seen that it's a packed program. The whole thinking was, let's make it very practical. We have 10-minute slots, every speaker, with showing something real, something practical, very pointy, not long stories, but just go for it. That's how we love to work here in Rotterdam anyway, so let's take that forward. I wanted to move forward to the next session. I can actually control everything myself, that's nice. So I wanted to, before introducing Lars to the stage, I wanted to quickly introduce and reintroduce iSHARE. And you would say, all right, we're here at an iSHARE conference, we've seen a lot about iSHARE, but I think there's still a lot of confusion in how iSHARE is being envisioned, but also how that connects to the bigger world. Sometimes I get questions, hey, do I need to choose for 𝐰𝐴 or iSHARE? Or do I go for 𝐴𝐴 or 𝐰𝐴? Or how does that all link up together, and where is that world going, because it seems so complicated? Well, we came to a new metaphor to really make it simple also for today, to create language around it so we can explain how stuff works. So I'll pull up Lars Nagel in a bit, the CEO of 𝐰𝐴. After I'm just going through a few slides and then make the picture a bit bigger. So, of course, the cornerstone, like I started, of iSHARE is your data, your choice. It's your control, it's your data, wherever it is. And we started that before the concept of data spaces was actually developed. And that's one of the key points to keep in mind. It's about data that's out there already. Data spaces, no data spaces, it's out there already. And it's your data, but it's actually somewhere already. It's already in SaaS applications, it's in services, areas where you already use that on a daily basis. And if you want to start utilizing that, unlock that locked up data, you need to be able to share that to others and give others access, but you need trust to actually do that. And then we usually bump recently in the discussion, okay, what kind of trust do I need? And there's so many forms of trust. If I went to the baker this morning, get a croissant and ask him for a good one, I trust that he's making the right croissants, but that is a totally different area of trust than what you need when you're sharing data. So the metaphor, if you compare that, it's basically similar to what's happening if you're sharing your car with someone else. If you're giving someone else access to your car, giving your car keys away, it's still your car. But you want to have assurance that someone else can drive that car, can understand how to operate that and run that. And of course, we've already figured something out around that. We have a driver's license or a Führerschein or whatever we call it. But if you look around Europe, it's all roughly the same principle and the same driver's license. But that driver's license is not bought by someone. You don't get it with a pack of milk. You get that because an authority already figured out this is the minimum requirements to be able to drive a car, and with that, there's insurance coverage if you're driving a car. Well, iSHARE framework is basically working the same way. You give someone else access to your data. It's still your data. But you also want to have assurances of the other organizations that actually get access to your data. And through that structure, you can not only share that in one area or one country, but in a much bigger picture. And that definitions of what is in the driver's license is defined by the authorities. So currently that's governments doing that. In the iSHARE framework, it's not a government, it's actually the joint owners of cars that define what the requirements are from trust perspective of an organization. And with that, driver's licenses are issued. And with that, in trust, you can give someone else access to your car. But the next part in that puzzle is that you can actually define, similar to with Teslas, you can't drive faster than 100 kilometers an hour and you can't use the glove box. So that structure is actually exactly the same in the iSHARE framework already, where you define who can use your data, who can access what attributes and what elements. With the use of existing issuers, existing organizations that issue both that driver's license, which we call the satellites, and issue basically those car keys, which we call authorization registries, based on trusted parties that follow the same rules and procedures. And with that, we're building an ecosystem of trusted organizations that you can build on, building on identities that are already out there, all focused on trusted use of data. And with that, you can discover organizations to communicate with. What other organizations do you have that also have that same driver's license, and define the full details of whatever you want to do in that car key because it's your car. But that's all cool. Now we have a car and we have a car key. But we can't drive on anything, so we can't yet get from A to B, and there's much more needed in the bigger ecosystems and how to build a community around that. And that's where also 𝐰𝐭 comes in. Because